out all the time on the streets of Nanning at night. Yes, and I may have had a couple of brews in my belly, and on my e-bike at 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, coming home. So when you're driving around China, chances are, if you're drinking and driving, if you don't run into anybody or anything, you're not going to get caught. So these are some of the things that I think can change in China to be more like Canada, where if somebody's... That's one thing that China's been known for is you know, and the idea that they hit somebody and then back over and hit them again just to make sure that they're dead. And you know, this has been documented a number of times in China, because then you've only got to pay one time. And she's... Yeah. Another thing about China that's not good, and Canada's better, the States is better, is here you go into a restaurant, people are smoking. And of course there's always the kids relieving themselves on the street, you know, both ends letting her go, you know, type thing. But you see, here in China, the cleanliness of it all isn't a big factor. They haven't come that far yet. Canada or the States is way more comfortable than China, you know, both in the home life and getting around. You know, there's some things that China could learn from the West too. Clean up the pollution for one. You know, take care of the mentally ill. You know, you see on the streets a lot of homeless people, and they're mentally ill. You know, there's still a lot of uneducated people in China, and it's going to take more education and more work by the Chinese people to bring their standard of living up to where it's close to being Canada, the United States, or even Eastern or Western European countries. Or the people that just never fit in their own country, and there was a reason why they didn't fit in, because they're strange. They're just strange people, eh? And you see a lot of them around Nanning. You see a lot of them in China, where they just don't fit in their own world.
Because I know when Weifang got sick, we had to go back to Canada. We're there for 18 months. I just didn't fit in. You know, I didn't feel comfortable. I wasn't happy there.
So they come to China thinking they're going to fit in, and they don't. They do get a little bit more recognition in China because of their white skin, their English language, and that makes them think that they are something special. And it goes to their head, and for the first time in their life, they are something special. And then something happens, and they go bloop. You know what I mean? This is such a big problem in China, is the worst decision that they've made in this crisis so far. So this is probably the biggest mistake that the government's made on this to date. And we want to get the hell out of here. So this is my farewell video to China, and we're heading for the airport. We're going to Nanning. We've been in contact with government officials on the ground in China that are saying, yes, you're going to quarantine when you get there. But we're trying to talk them into letting us self-quarantine in our own home. Whether somebody to tell us what we're doing and where we're going, and hopefully it's a nice hotel. You know, a couple extra bucks would be nice. It's going to make some good video. They asked a million questions, and we thought, oh, we might even get away without quarantine. Brought us to a fancy-ass hotel with a bunch of guys in hazmat suits, and they wanted to charge us 480 RMB a night. So he said, no, we're not going to do that. You should have seen the turmoil, the utter turmoil. So I just took my stuff and put it back on the bus and said, no. So then they found us a compromise at 280 RMB a night. So I'm a little bit pissed off here right now. Anyway, so we're off to the other hotel, and now we've been about 7.5 hours since we got off the airplane. No food, and the bus driver hates us now because he thought his job was done, but he's got to take us to a different hotel. Anyway, midnight, and now it's quarter. They dropped the ball on this one big time. I'm in a hotel that we pay 280 RMB for to go into quarantine and pay the price up front. And what did they give you? Well,
Okay, I'm going to walk you around this little unit. The Wi-Fi is really, really, really bad, but let's start in the bathroom, okay? And don't get me wrong, I know that China sometimes doesn't have the best accommodations, but there are some limits to what you should get. This is my bathroom. Okay, it does have hot water, which is a plus. You know, it's not clean, really. These are the towels that I was given. 2 towels, that big. How do your towels and your linens get washed? As well, we don't during that 14-day time period. You're basically on your own, and that this way falling off a little bit. See the door here? It's coming apart, guys. Jesus Christ! Okay, so 14 or 15 hours before, and no food on the road, nothing, no sleep. So we were pretty tired when we got here. And when my father says, "Well, what about the linens?" He says, "Well, there's 2 beds in each room. So when one bed gets dirty, then you don't sleep in that bed, then you come to sleep in the other bed." Wi-Fi, but the Wi-Fi is pretty crappy. And in Gweilo 60, before I even got into my room, when I was paying for the hotel room, I made them go and get me 3 bottles of Baijiu, yes, and some Sprite over there for some mix. So, like, this is good. This is good for 14 days of quarantine. And Wei Fang had 3 of these little rolls of toilet paper. So she phoned down and she bitched them out something fierce. She says, "What do you want me to do with my finger?" So I thought that was quite interesting. Oh, and she bitched them about the towels. She says, "These towels are disgusting. They're small. Like, what do you want me to do? And I take a shower and then, you know, and it's humid and wet here and Nanning, you know." So.
About those thieving little Chinese characters and how rampant it is, I guess, in China and what you can do.
You know, that's one of the things in China, that there are a lot of thieves and you really got to watch your stuff. Lock it up. Or
you've got to watch out for people stealing tires off of cars. You've got to watch out for people breaking into your home.
China, but there is a lot of thievery in China. So, you know.
Bars on all of the windows and balconies, if you can see. It's everywhere. 5 most disgusting habits that Chinese people have. Chinese people take their shoes off, bare feet in restaurants, and put it on their chairs. Chinese people take their shoes off in airplanes and with people beside them and stick their feet up on the chair, the airplane chair. Yes, it's disgusting and it stinks and it's just one of those disgusting habits that
I don't like. Chinese people sneeze as loud as they possibly can. Every morning I hear people outside my apartment sneezing as loud as they can, and they'll sneeze 10 times, and then you'll hear somebody else sneeze and he's 2 blocks away and he's like, my God, it's like they want everybody to know that they're sneezing.
All Chinese people pick their nose in public, and they're pulling out some big hoogies, and you know, it's common. Little kids pick their nose, women pick their nose, men pick their nose. Everybody's picking their nose in China, in public. It's not considered, and they'll wipe it on lampposts and stuff. So don't lean on lampposts in China, because I've seen them pull out just a big old yankin noogie and wipe it on a lamppost. You just think, oh, that's disgusting.
Outside Walmart, holding a kid and it squirts and shit everywhere. Why not take the kid to the bathroom at Walmart? I don't know. Take them outside the front door and it's all over the sidewalk, so then somebody has to come out and clean it up. The kids, they just whip it out or just squat down and pee wherever they want. They poop wherever they want. They'll just stop on the sidewalk and just drop their drawers and let it go.
And this is common, this is acceptable in China, that children up to a certain age can crap or piss anywhere at any time, and people just ignore it. This is normal. This is normal behavior in China. Most disgusting things Chinese people do. Well, spitting and snotting. Like, these are adults, and like they're every morning it's every day it's and it goes on and on, and like some of these older guys are really good at it. You can hear them a block away, and they pull up these big old, I don't know even what you want to call them. I think they're alive, and they just hork them everywhere,
But then they, you know, snotting. They'll do the same thing. They'll snot everywhere on the street. In the hospital the other day, they'd walk up and they'd try to shoot it at the garbage can, and it would hit wherever, the wall or. And this is acceptable behavior from adults in China, where
spitting and snotting and hoiking, I guess you want to call it, is acceptable behavior in China. So, you know, in the West, people would look at you and call you a pig, or somebody would come over and slap you on the back of the head and say, don't do that, yeah, that's disgusting. Or children defecating wherever they want. Somebody would talk to the parents, or, you know, all of these things are things that would just not be acceptable in the Western world that are totally acceptable here in China. I don't like it. It's one of the things that I don't like about China is these disgusting habits that Chinese people have. I've been here for 14 years, and it's the majority of the population does.
There are dangers of living in China. One really big danger, and I run into this all the time, food safety. It's not so clean. A lot of times I will get sick from it. Actually, you got to watch your ass all the time in China. Everything moves maybe a little bit slower, but it is more dangerous in the West. Way, way more dangerous than the West. The foreigners are more dangerous than the Chinese people. That's a fact. And they create more problems. They have more troubles. They are more anti-China bashing bastards than, you know, because, well, my country's like this. Why isn't China like this? Well, if you like your country like that, go the hell home. You know what I mean? Another thing that you've got to really watch out for is the medical here in China. It just isn't up to snuff as compared to the Western world.
My country's like this. Why isn't China like this? Well, if you like your country like that, go the hell home. You know what I mean?
Isn't up to snuff as compared to the Western world.
You know, the number 8 hospital is not as good as the number 1 hospital. The number 1 hospital is not as good as the university hospital. So, yes, and don't drink the water. You drink the water, it's the same as going to the food vendors on the street. You are going to get sick, and it's going to come flying out your ass. Guaranteed. 100% of the time. You lose your identity. And what do I mean by that? Well, when you're losing your identity, you lose who you used to be in the Western world. You don't fit it in at home anymore. Home being Canada for me, the States, Britain for a number of people. But because I know when Weifang got sick, we had to go back to Canada. We're there for 18 months. I just didn't fit in. You know, I didn't feel comfortable. I wasn't happy there. My world, I do see the old people digging in the garbage for recyclables. I do see the despair in the eyes of people that walk on the street that are homeless. I see the bad in China. Start talking about some of the bad things about China. And as I say, nothing's perfect, no country's perfect, and China's no different than any other country. So here it goes. When the Chinese government wants to put together a project, whether it be a subway or a freeway or a high-speed train, if there's a tree or a village in your way, that tree's gone, that village is gone, and that's just the way it is. A lot of the Chinese people don't like that because a lot of them are farmers and this is their livelihood. But what's better for the majority of the people is what the Chinese government looks at. And if a village has to go or a tree has to go, if that, as I said before, if that church is on a piece of property that can be used for a high-rise and house a whole bunch of people, that church is gone. And that's just the way China is. So China doesn't really care about what the rest of the world thinks. Well, mostly. When you've got Uyghurs that are Muslims in the northwestern part of the country, they see what's going on in Britain. They see what goes on in Australia. They see that the Sharia law, the ISIS fighters coming and going from different countries, they want no part of that. What do? Re-education camps. You got it. You know what? It might not be a bad idea for the Chinese. I don't think the West is up to doing something like that. But in China, they look at it and they look at what's going on in the rest of the world and they just say, no, that's not going to happen here. Sharia law? I don't think so. But when you see these no-go zones in Britain, even for the police, because of the radical shit that was brought over from different countries. So yeah, there are minorities in China that actually get shit on, and but they bring it on themselves.
Sure, they say Tibet is one of those places that was Chinese owned and is part of China, and that's just it. They're trying to reunify China to its full extent of what it was a number of years ago. Well, that might work and that might not work. I don't believe that the whole South China Sea is the property of China. I believe in 200-mile limits off coasts of like the Philippines, Malaysia, Vietnam, things like that. But what I believe really doesn't make much difference in the politics of China, because I'm just one Gweilo sitting here making videos, and that's just the way it is. Does China own Taiwan? Yeah. The People's Republic of China won the war in '49, and the ROC is the remnants of the army that lost. So yes, anything that they occupy is basically the People's Republic of China's property, just because the ROC lost the war, guys. And that's just the way war is. Whether you like it or not, that's one of the things that I do agree with. I'm on the Chinese side on that one. Hong Kong, yeah, that's Chinese too, special autonomous region. And the people in Hong Kong that are creating such a stink are probably going to get there sooner or later. You know, they're talking about making masks illegal in Hong Kong now, so they can actually see face recognition and all that other stuff. Oh yeah, you won't see a lot of these guys out on the street if they can't cover their face. Why? Because they're criminals.
The poverty in the cities too, where there's a lot of people. Like every morning I come out at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and there's this hunched over old guy digging through the garbage to get the plastic and the cardboard and, you know, the plastic bottles and stuff, so he can go sell it. Whether he's got money in his pocket or not, I don't know.